Alright guys, so my name's Stephen Lawrence, working out of Torpedo7 Northlink. Nice new store here, and been in the supplement industry for over 9 years, so yes, it's a great business to be involved with, and regularly in the gym on a regular basis, in the morning or in the evening for at least an hour, and getting amongst the weights and resistance training. Hypertrophy training is my main deal, with a little bit of powerlifting thrown in as well. And so that's pretty much me. Maria from Pure, want to give us your background as well?
Cool, so I'm a sports and exercise nutritionist. I studied down in Otago a few years ago now. I've got a background in endurance sports, so cycling and rowing were my main sports back in the day. I've just had my third child, so now that's a little bit of a marathon for me. We started Pure 7 years ago, so my brother and I actually started it here in Christchurch. We're a locally owned business. Depending on what you'd call a distance run, obviously any distance is a run, but if you're training for over an hour, you possibly do need fuel before you go. It's just how long before you start the run do you need the fuel. So I always say the longer you're going to run for, possibly the longer gap before you start your training run, to let it digest. So maybe depending on what time you're going, having a really good main meal a couple of hours before might be enough, and then possibly just have a snack half an hour before you go. And recovery is key, so no matter what you're doing, within half an hour of when you finish, that's when you need to get the recovery on board. So that's kind of a broad answer to that question, but you definitely need to fuel before and again after, and that's to fuel the training, get more out of the run, and then recover to get the benefits of the run and get the fitness, if that makes sense. Swimming's an interesting discipline because obviously you're moving around lots, your gut's moving, so you can eat anything before you swim, but what you want to do is train. If you're going to do a race like a triathlon, you want to train on the foods that you're going to actually have before your race. So whether it's McDonald's for breakfast before your race or it's porridge, it doesn't matter at the end of the day as long as it sits in your stomach and you're able to actually swim on it. So again, I'd leave an hour or so minimum before you actually start swimming to let it digest. Quite a good tactic before a triathlon is also making sure training yourself to relax, so you're not highly strung, which is really hard before an event because we're all obviously a bit nervous and stuff, but just make sure you're relaxed and let the digestion happen, because when you're anxious, that's the blood's going out of your gut and you're not digesting the food.
So that one there, I mean, there's a ton of things, even when you're doing weighted bicep curls or doing reverse curls, so put your hand on top of the bar and actually curling it reverse curl. It's going to concentrate a lot through your forearms. If you're hitting that up and doing 10 to 12 repetitions, then that's going to definitely help to hit those fibers and grow the forearms. Also, you can do with a lighter weight just by doing the wrist curls, and that's going to hit your forearms as well. So that's what I would recommend.
I'm a little bit biased. Pure sports nutrition. No, it's whatever works for you. So if you're going to be out there again racing, make sure you practice what you're going to have in training. We designed our hydration to have fast absorbing sugars, so that's a sucrose glucose combo. That combo is actually super specific. It's not just a random combo of carbohydrates, and the point of that is that it absorbs fast from your stomach into your muscles. So A, it's going to fuel you fast, so provide you with energy. B, it's going to get out of your stomach, so you're less likely to get stomach upsets or stomach cramps and that type of thing. So there is quite a bit of science behind it. So what I would say is find one that tastes bloody good, because if it doesn't, you're not going to drink it, so you're never going to be hydrated, and just practice it in training.
So with CASEIN, it does take like around 4 to 6 hours to fully digest, which is a lot longer than WHEY is. So the good thing about CASEIN is that if you do have that before you go to sleep and you've trained heavy workout or strength training in that evening, then it is going to aid while you're sleeping, because your body's at full rest. It is going to help keep your body fueled for a few hours of the night, and so to help with further recovery than what having WHEY isolate or concentrate would do for you. So there is definitely some benefits for that for sure. Concentrate, it's not quite as filtered as an isolate protein is, so that will contain more of the fats and sugars and things like that.
But still virtually none, and that's where people get, they're like,
yeah, isolate's a little bit further, removing those things. So if you're someone that has any gastro sort of issues, you'll have less bloating with an isolate protein. So
everything has a finite amount that you can actually absorb it into your body, obviously. What I would say is you need to spread your protein intake out throughout the day, and that's another one for optimizing your recovery. It is super important straight after you finish your session, but it's actually important to look at the bigger picture. So how much your protein you're having over the whole day and spreading it out, because recovery is an ongoing process. It doesn't just suddenly stop happening half an hour after you finish your training session. So making sure you have it at every meal, and making sure you're getting enough at every meal.
It is easier best idea to snack on smaller meals throughout the day to recover, and so your body can absorb more of that protein and that sort of thing too.
And that's another reason a protein supplement isn't necessary for everyone if you can get enough out of your diet. But that's where it does become quite hard, because obviously high protein foods tend to be more of like your animal products, your meats, and I don't know about you, but having salami or maybe a meat for breakfast is not that appealing. So it's can be an amazing product to put in to obviously bump up your protein intake. Would you agree?
Yeah. I get a little bit of stick now and again for eating eggs, which is kind of funny, but it is eggs are a really well bioavailable form of protein that your body can absorb a lot faster than a lot of other proteins, and they do contain amino acids and all that jazz as well.
Do you eat the yolks, or do you?
I do eat the yolks,
Good.
yes, and there's
Lots
a little
of
bit
vitamins
of
and minerals.
controversy around all the things with yolks, but I mean it's fine to have about 3 yolks a day, and then you can just have the egg whites to separate the yolks from the whites.
If you're training for durations over an hour, or super hot, humid summer conditions, or you're at a high phase of your training, that's when you should think about having a sports drink to get the benefits of the faster hydration, and also replacing the electrolytes that you lose in your sweat. So that's a massive part of it, is replacing those to keep the muscle function going. We've got quite a few motocross athletes on our sponsorship books. To be honest, the whole range, and I'm not just saying that because I'm not a salesperson, but everything we brought out we use every day in training and racing. So there's not a product that wouldn't suit you for motocross. There's our Beat, what you load on before you race, which helps open your blood vessels, so that allows more blood to be brought around to your working muscles, so you can actually load up on that up 5 days up to an event. So there's lots you can do before, during and after. Another one before is also our black currant, which again helps open the blood flow. And then obviously during, you've got your hydration, you've got your energy gels, electrolyte tablets for more electrolytes, or a carb-free electrolyte. And then after, we've got a whole recovery range. What I would say to you is what you've practiced in your training. So if your mountain bike race is, say, a Saturday morning and starts super early, then what I would do is during your trainings, normally maybe your weekend ride would be your long training ride or your hard training ride. So I would replicate doing that the same time that your race will be on. And for that session of training, try out what you're going to have on race day. So start maybe an hour or two before, having a bigger meal, and then if that works for you in your training, you can know that you can replicate that on race day. What I would say is don't try anything new on race day. That's the golden rule of nutrition, is just do everything you practiced before, so there's no surprises. Good things to eat before races are things low in fibre, so that's maybe your more plain breads and cereals. Low in fat, so it's not as slow to digest again, it's not sitting in your gut, and just stuff that actually I think tastes good and gives you good energy. So for me it used to be a case of Nutella on fruit bread, which is something I wouldn't have every day, or I wouldn't say to people to have every day, but for race day it fueled me, it was easy to get in, and I could digest it before I started racing.
So depending on what it is that you're doing, for instance, if you're in the gym and you're basically doing high resistance training, you're breaking down the muscle fibers, so you need to be having that nutrition and to help replenish those muscles and to help them recover, repair, possibly grow if that's your goal. So you do need to be getting all those key things in, like Marina said as well. If you're going to be sweating out a lot when you're doing your high intensity training, so you do need to get those electrolytes and things back into your system to help your system recover.
And it's same for endurance athletes. You're actually breaking down your muscle fibers as well. So similar to I guess maybe in the gym or strength athletes. So it's all about getting the gains out of the session and being at the right place for your next one and getting the adaptation and essentially getting fitter or stronger or faster or whatever you're looking to get. So
and it's going to reduce muscle soreness and things as well. So you're going to be able to get back into your training again a lot sooner than if you just had bad nutrition and didn't do your best to get yourself
or no
back
nutrition.
up. Or no nutrition.
It's a hard one because obviously supplements are super easy. They come in nice, handy packaging. What I would do is real food's a good option. Anything you can cut up, put in a bag. When I look, depending on how much, what I would start doing is actually figure out how many carbs you're needing an hour, whether you're training for a race or you're just out biking on a weekend, just with nothing in mind, and then go back from there. So if you've got an actual carbohydrate amount you're going to try and reach, so that might be between say 30 and 60 grams for a regular person out biking for a couple of hours, so 30 or 60 grams per hour of carbs, then you've got to figure out where you're going to get that from. So work backwards, and that's where you can use real food. So whether it's baking, muesli bars from home, or sports gels are obviously the most compact form of carbs you can have, so they're quite easy to put in your pocket. And it's just working out the combination that you're able to have and then mixing it up, I guess. I mean, I'm fine personally when I do a race, I can have 3 gels an hour and I'm totally fine with that, and I don't get any stomach upset, and every hour I can do the same until about 3 or 4 hours in, and then I actually feel like some real food because I'm hungry or I just want a bit more excitement, I guess. So it's just about mixing it up and figuring out what actually works for you, and again, trying everything in your training. That's an incredible thing to enter. Well done. Makes me nervous thinking about that. Imagine doing 24 hours of strength athlete here, probably wouldn't. Again, that's a really challenging one, and what I would say is probably get a professional opinion or someone to help work through what actually works for you, what your nutrition aims are, because you're going to have to think about fluid for hydration. If you start dehydrating, then you start fatiguing, and then we get into lots of different obviously scenarios with cramping and muscle soreness and things like that. So there's hydration to think about, electrolyte replacement, then you've got your carbohydrate needs, which will be massive if you're doing a 24-hour race. Could be up to 90 grams or even more an hour. And if you're going to go that far into having that many carbohydrates, you actually need to make sure they come from a lot of different sources, not just one source, so one type of sugar. You need to mix them up to make sure your body can digest them. And then, of course, on top of that, you're going to have protein and probably fat to help make you feel full and give you the energy you need. So there's a lot going on here. I would recommend trying to get a nutrition plan and just start chipping away in your training, practicing what you can handle. You can actually train your stomach to absorb more fluid and handle more food. So that's what you need to do. Just start. I know I get clients that start marathon running and they've never drunk fluid while they're running, and it's like you just need to start at the start. So sip away, start every 10 minutes, use a Camelback or a Hydro Pack, and just start chipping away at it, and then you'll be amazed at how you can actually train your body to have higher volumes of fluid at a time. So you can just keep increasing the amounts you give to yourself, and then hopefully come race day you're able to meet your fluid needs and also your food needs.
For those of you that don't know what BCAAs are, it's branch chain amino acids. So it's part of a list of essential amino acids. There's the 3: leucine, isoleucine and valine. So they're the 3 that are split off, and leucine is primarily the key one. The other 2 are mainly for energy sourcing, but with leucine, that one will increase protein synthesis in the body. So you do get these aminos within meats as well, fish and things. But yeah, what leucine will do will increase protein synthesis, so it's going to allow your muscles to recover a lot more effectively than not having it, and getting it out of a normal diet can be quite difficult. So supplementation, generally you would want a 2-1-1 ratio, 2 being of leucine and the other was to help with the energy of that there. So yeah, I definitely recommend branched chain amino acids for if you are trying to build a bit of extra muscle. But yeah, so highly recommend it. Supplements such as the one from Muscle Farm here. So talking about the ratios again. So this one actually has a higher ratio, so you've got 3 grams of leucine, 2 of valine and 1 of isoleucine. So yeah, higher level of leucine again, so that's really going to just increase the effectiveness.
We literally designed the range for everything around a whole race, which gets a bit challenging because it's like, hey, buy the whole range. But it's basically what you're needing. So obviously the fluid we sell, the hydration, has carbohydrates in it. That might be enough for some people hiking to get some carbs, get your electrolytes, and then you might have to add on other products to complete your nutrition. In terms of hiking, what I would say as well is make sure that your product you use does have electrolytes in it. So I'll just show you. We've got, like, this is our hydration powder here. It comes in a powder form and you scoop it in and make it up with, obviously every size drink bottle is different, but 3 scoops to 1 normal 750ml drink bottle. And that should have, say you're out hiking, that should have enough carbohydrates in it to fuel you, and electrolytes to replace what you lose in sweat. One of the big things we often get asked is, oh, I'm not fast, I don't need a sports drink. But that's where you could possibly be at risk of something called hyponatremia, and that's when you don't replace the sodium you're losing in your sweat, and it's super dangerous. It's actually more common in, I guess, athletes that take longer to complete, say, a marathon, because you're still sweating, you're still losing all your salts, but if you're only drinking water, you're actually diluting your body salts effectively, which can drown your body, I guess. So it's really important that you are replacing the electrolytes you lose, even if you're not going hard or fast. That's a really important thing. That's where I'd look at your diet, because I guess it starts with your base diet, and this is where, jump back in, bring your supplements. That's where you need to look at your base diet and actually say, do I need a supplement? Before that, you need to make sure you're eating good meals, you're having plenty of fruits and veggies. 5+ a day is probably not enough to cut it for most people, and that's where I guess something that I was actually reminded of this week, again, people don't consider themselves athletes, and some people we interact with are actually training 3, 4, 5 times a week. You're an athlete, so you possibly need to look at treating your body like you are an athlete, and that comes back down to base diet, having awesome meals. Again, you've got some fish.
Yep, we do have fish oil here, so this is perfect. This is good for all kinds of things. It's good for eyesight, skin, keep your nails nice and nice looking. Yes, there's a whole lot of things that these are good for. If you are someone that kind of like me that doesn't always have a lot of time with like getting a lot of good vegetables into your diet, I mean something like, so these ones here, the Green Vitality, contains broccoli, carrots, peas, like, yeah, all in a powder form, so you can sink that down with your meal, and you're going to get all those nutrients for the greens that you're not necessarily getting from your meals. So there is options there for that we do have available. So
yep. So 7+ a day fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
is what you need. Yep. Muscle. So that's probably the only way you can do that, and that's through exercise, whether it's resistance or just out there. Oh, do you have a product for that?
So I do have a little supplement here. Cool. So this is called a Burn Complex, a thermogenic drink. So 2 key ingredients in this one here is carnitine and also a bit of green tea extract. So carnitine is going to naturally sort of increase your metabolism, a wee bit there as well. Of course, you need to get your diet in check first, so you can't just be living off Maccas and take this and expect it to be like a magical thing. But yeah, having a pretty good diet and supplementing with this, and it will assist to a point.
Again, cramping can be fitness related, so make sure you're fit enough for what you're doing, or I guess it's part of the fitness process, isn't it? And then again, electrolytes, making sure you're having enough electrolytes, you're replacing what you lose in sweat. Your fluid, you're drinking enough, you're hydrating. and then it's always better to prevent cramp than treat it. So coffee's always good after Pilates.
There is a supplement, beta-alanine, which you can find in a few sort of pre-workouts and things, which give you a little bit of a funny tingly effect. Nothing to be alarmed about, but they will also help to reduce cramping as well.
We say 10, but it's what you can stomach. So I can have more than 10 in a 4-hour race. So yeah, it's just up to you. We actually do a fluid one and a traditional gel, so one's thicker and one's more fluid. So I find the fluid one easier because you just shot them. Some people like the traditional ones because they're a bit thicker and they might feel more, I guess, more substance to them. If anyone's got any questions as well that we haven't covered, feel free to DM us some more and we're happy to answer them and get in touch. But yeah, if there's anything you'd like covered, or yeah, thanks for watching.
Awesome. Thanks guys.